Okay, let's unpack this.
Hmm.
We're diving into a really fascinating narrative where two lives, two whole identities have just violently collided.
Right.
So Zumenguri wakes up. He's in the body of this young man named Klein. And that initial, that paralyzing shock is finally starting to fade a little.
He's found a foothold.
Exactly, a mental crutch. He's got some kind of plan. And now he can finally start to confront the world Klein left behind.
And that shift is so crucial from just pure existential panic to like a critical assessment.
Yeah.
Our mission today really is to use these
Hmm.
these scattered memories of Klein's and the world around him, the Loon Kingdom, to build a kind of picture.
We're basically using one person's amnesia as a window into an entire society.
We are a society that's trying to balance, deep religious tradition with this push for modernization, all under this brutal economic pressure that's lurking just beneath the surface.
And the archive we have to work with, it is severely compromised. Let's start with the central mystery, the sheer personal wreckage that is Klein's past. Zumenguri tries to sort through the memories, but the source describes them as feeling like shattered glass.
Which is such a great description. They're not just foggy, they're non-contiguous. There are huge, meaningful gaps, especially around the time of the incident itself.
Right.
And what's fascinating here is that the memory loss isn't, it's not generalized. It feels almost targeted.
Targeted how?
There are 4 specific concrete things that are just gone.
Yeah.
And these 4 things are basically the entire mechanism of his death.
You're absolutely right. Okay, so first he has zero recollection of how the exquisite revolver even came into his possession.
The murder weapon or the suicide tool. It's a complete blank.
A total blank. Second, he has no way of knowing if his death was murder or if it was suicide.
And then you get the third clue, which is this really cryptic phrase in a notebook. It just says, "Everyone will die, including me." Yeah. Is that a prophecy? A threat? Who knows? The memory offers no context at all. And then maybe the most critical piece for a timeline, he can't remember if he did anything odd in the 2 days right before it all happened.
So if you take those 4 missing pieces, the weapon, the cause of death, that note, and his recent activities, it feels like the trauma wasn't just physical, it was.
It wiped the core context.
Yeah. And Zumenguri looks at this and, he immediately gets the academic side of it. Klein was just days away from a history department interview at Tianjin University.
But he couldn't possibly graduate now.
No way. His mind is just too broken.
It's an interesting loop, isn't it? The very act of this displacement has made him academically incompetent, which just confirms how severe whatever happened really was.
And we can't forget the physical clues. Zumenguri finds the revolver and his first instinct is to shove it in a drawer.
Right. He calls it a semi-regulated item that will scare children. It's such a normal social reaction in the middle of this completely insane situation.
Oh. That one little moment shows this deep instinct to just, follow the rules, even when his entire identity is up for grabs. But let's pause on the wound, because that paradox it's truly baffling. He puts his hand to his temple.
And realizes the bullet wound is already healed.
Instantly.
This is our first definitive sign that something beyond a simple death and replacement happened here.
Sure.
A gunshot wound that heals itself combined with a total memory wipe of how it happened. That takes us out of the realm of, a mundane suicide.
And puts it firmly into the supernatural, shrouded in mystery.
Exactly.
And this is where that personal mystery just collides head on with daily reality. And that reality, it arrives in the form of his younger sister, Melissa.
She's the grounding element, the clockwork of the house.
Incredibly punctual, right?
Yeah.
She wakes up just as the red moon is setting, and Zumenguri feels this profound conflict.
Because he knows, logically, I don't have a sister. But
Yeah.
Klein's memories are flooding him with this intent protective kinship.
And that duality, logic versus emotion, is what forces him to act like a brother.
And Melissa herself is such a fascinating character. She's like a signpost for how the Loan Kingdom is changing.
Her ambition, definitely, it bucks tradition. She wants to be a steam mechanic.
She loves gears, springs, bearings, all of it. And she's already on that path. She's 15, and she's already passed her exams for the Tianjin Technical School.
In the steam and machinery department, no less.
And, her entire educational path is a direct result of this massive political shift in the kingdom.
The basic education law.
That's the one. To really get Melissa, you have to look at what education used to be like.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the old system was, it was all run by the church.
Specifically, the Church of the Evernight Goddess. You went to Sunday school.
It was cheap, just 1 copper penny a week.
But it was only on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was heavily focused on dogma, not, practical skills.
So this new law changes everything. It sets up public primary schools 6 days a week.
And yeah, the fee is 3 pence a week, which sounds like more. But the sources are clear. For 6 full days of teaching, it was almost free in comparison.
So it's not just about making school more accessible. This is a strategic move by the state.
100%. The government is actively trying to shift loyalty away from the church's infrastructure and toward the state's.
A modernizing state.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's why the law is so political. It created this whole committee for primary and secondary education to ensure religious neutrality.
Because you've got these 3 major Orthodox gods with all this influence.
You do. The Evernight Goddess, the Lord of Storms for trade and the sea, and the new kid on the block, the god of steam and machinery.
For industry and progress. So the state had to create a curriculum that wouldn't start a faith war between them.
Exactly. They needed students learning technical skills like steam mechanics for Melissa without favoring one god's worldview over another. It's a classic sign of an emerging industrial nation trying to manage its internal powers.
Which makes Melissa's career choice a sort of political statement in miniature, then. A move toward modernization.
It is.
But all this progress is happening against this backdrop of just intense financial stress. And we have to get into that now.
Yeah, the family's economic burden.
And that burden falls almost entirely on the older brother, Benson. He was paying for Klein at university and Melissa at her technical school.
And then his company gets hit by this severe economic shock. Something to do with the situation in the southern continent.
This sounds like more than just a regular downturn. The wording implies a kind of structural weakness, maybe tied to geopolitics or colonial trade.
It seems so. It caused a drastic sudden drop in profits. We don't have all the details, but you can see how a shock over there would instantly destabilize the domestic economy.
And puts families like Klein's right on the edge.
It forced Benson into these awful positions, taking on tons of overtime, doing really arduous tasks, working in harsh conditions.
Anything to keep his job.
Just to keep his job and their tiny income.
Yeah.
They have no safety net, none.
And you can see how that stress was already affecting Klein, even before all this happened. He had this academic insecurity as a commoner at university.
Right. The source points to the ancient language of Fasak.
The root of all northern continent languages.
And for noble kids, learning it was just expected. It was a social and academic key they got from a young age. Klein only encountered it when he got to university.
He was constantly playing catch-up. And his average results weren't from a lack of effort.
Not at all. It was a systemic class disadvantage. Plus, he was working constantly just to pay his way through.
That economic strain, it just seeps into every single detail of their lives. I mean, even the food they eat.
Oh, the specifics are just heartbreaking. Melissa prepares 2 pieces of rye bread for breakfast.
And the source notes, it's not the absolute worst. No sawdust in it.
No, but it's still poor quality. And their tea, it's a joke. She throws 10 leaves of bad tea into a pot of boiled water.
It's just hot water, really. It's the pretense of a comforting drink.
It is. And we get the actual numbers, too. Melissa's school fees are 9 pence a week. That's a constant wait.
Then she gives Zoom and Gruey money for shopping and tells him to buy 8 pounds of fresh bread, mutton, and peas.
And here's where things get really disorienting for Zoom and Gruey. He has this moment where he realizes the Lowen Kingdom's pound is totally different from what he knows.
8 pounds is barely half a kilogram to him.
Exactly. It's such a subtle detail, but it shows how everything, even basic measurement, is just skewed. It makes survival even harder.
And that lack of money dictates every choice. Melissa walks 50 minutes to school.
50.
She chooses to walk instead of taking the public horse carriage to save money, even though it's pretty cheap, 1 penny per kilometer.
But saving those 4 or 6 pence for a round trip is critical for their budget. Every single decision is a sacrifice.
It's this incredible contrast. On one hand, you have a modern state pushing for technical education.
And on the other, a family so poor they have to ration tea leaves and walk for miles just to be able to afford it.
Let's shift now to this really intimate moment that combines all of that. The poverty, Melissa's technical skill, and Klein's Well, incompetence.
The pocket watch.
For the pocket watch. It's an heirloom, sort of. A silver vine leaf watch, secondhand, left by their father.
Who's a Royal Army sergeant. And it was always breaking down, which embarrassed Benson, who used it to try and look important before he just gave up on it.
But Melissa, our aspiring steam mechanic, she fixed it. Borrowed tools from her school.
Right. And this gives zooming Gruey, still clumsy in this new body, a chance to interact with the world's mechanics.
He tries to wind it, to twisting the top dial, nothing. He thinks it's broken again.
And this sets up a perfect character moment. Melissa, the competent little sister, just walks over to deal with her inept older brother.
She pulls the top button up, which is usually for adjusting the time, not winding, and turns it.
And the second hand starts ticking immediately. It's a mechanical quirk, a piece of specific knowledge only she has.
And her reaction is just priceless. She gives him this expressionless glance, and then later a look of disparagement and resignation.
It's not cruel, though. It's just the quiet frustration of a genius dealing with, bewildering incompetence. And Zooming Gruey feels that humiliation. He wonders if she sees him as a retarded brother.
And right in that awkward moment, a distant cathedral bell chimes 6 times.
Prompting Melissa to synchronize the watch with that same weird technique. The rhythm of the world just imposes itself, even on their embarrassment.
But as he's sitting there fumbling with the watch, that simple action brings back the central unsolved problem.
The incident.
The incident. Klein's death. Presumed suicide. It needed a gunshot. A gunshot without a silencer is loud.
Very loud. And it should have been heard. Yet Melissa, who was literally just a wall away in the next room.
She didn't notice a thing.
And that's the crucial forensic detail that just torpedoes any simple explanation.
So Zooming Gruey is left with 2 possibilities. Either Melissa was sleeping so soundly that a gunshot didn't wake her.
Which seems, pretty unlikely given the noise.
Or the entire incident is shrouded in mystery to begin with. The silent death, the fragmented memories, they're not just signs of trauma.
They're signs of a non-mundane mechanism. The mechanics of the Lotm kingdom that Melissa loves are orderly, visible. The mechanics of Klein's death are silent and invisible.
So we've traveled from a man caught between 2 identities, navigated the intense economic pressures crushing a family, and we've seen this deliberate societal shift through education reform, all symbolized by Melissa.
And before we wrap up this deep dive, it's worth reflecting for a moment on the fundamental architecture of this world. Something Zooming Gruey noticed.
The passage of time.
The passage of time.
Yeah.
He notes that the northern continent's year 366 days, 12 months, and the 7-day week are almost identical to his own world.
But the reasons for them are what's so different.
That's the key. The months are based on astronomical observation. That's logical, universal. But the 7-day week, which feels so fundamental to us, here it's rooted purely in religion.
Yeah, the structure of the week is based on the worship cycle of the 7 major Orthodox gods.
Eternal blazing sun, Lord of storms, God of knowledge and wisdom, Evernight goddess, Mother Earth, God of war, and the God of steam and machinery. Every cycle of time is a social agreement based on religious convention.
It's not astronomical necessity.
Not at all.
So this raises an important question for you, the listener. When you look at structures we assume are universal, like the 7-day week or even the concept of a pound, how much of that is truly dictated by science or astronomy?
And how much is just a deeply rooted cultural and political adaptation designed to service a particular religious or societal order?
I mean, if the gods of this world disappeared, would the 7-day week just vanish with them? What other basic structures might we assume are universal, but are really just cultural adaptations we take for granted?